Hi, and welcome to another one of my Snappy Chats. This is all about learning and growing in business. I'm Christine Bell. I'm a customer strategist, but we're not going to be talking about me today. This is all about small businesses, and we all go through many challenges. I personally found on my journey in the last 8-9 years that it can be really, really lonely. And what I've learned, especially by engaging with people and getting to know people on LinkedIn, is we don't have to do this alone. We have so many small business owners out there. We all go through so many of the same challenges. So why not come together, create a community, and learn and grow together? And today, this is what it's all about. I have a dear friend of mine here today who's going to be talking to us. And I'll bring her on now, and her name is Siera. And we have a topic that we are both really have experienced ourselves in our businesses and that we're really passionate about talking about. So with no further ado, I'm going to bring the wonderful Siera to the stage. Hello, Siera. I'm so glad.
Hi. So great to be here. I love chatting with you always about whatever topics it is that we get into, but this is certainly going to be a good one, I think.
I'm so pleased that you can make it today. So thank you so much. And do you want to share a little bit about yourself before we get into the topic?
Sure. So I work with business owners that have usually gone through something in their life, some kind of transition or loss. And so it really makes them start to look at where they're stuck in their business, where they're not growing. And they also have a realization that there's probably something going on with them personally. And I
Yeah.
use my experience as a business consultant of 20 years, along with my intuitive gifts, to really be able to hone in on the how we are going to go ahead and realign and fix everything and get them unstuck.
And I love what you do. And I had personal experience working with you, and you've helped me so much in my business. And I highly recommend you. So if you don't know Sierra, do reach out to her. Let me put on the banner. Actually, this is what I'm learning. I'm learning all this stuff. Yeah. So we're just going to
Okay.
make this happen. I've got a banner going. Can you see that? It's
Oh,
got your name on
damn.
it.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty great. Good for
and I, at
you.
this Well, at this point, I have to give a shout out to the one and only Mike Asher-Browner from the House of Business. And we got some of the people here already. We've got Jackie, we've got
Aw.
Dee, we've got Melissa here already. Thank you. Mike, thankfully, a couple of times have been back room with me, helping me out in the back room. He's such a great leader, yeah, going back room and helping me with Snappy Chat. And he said, let's do this. You can do this. And I learned something new about StreamYard. So there you go. You're flashing all over the below. Anyway, back to the topic. This is a topic we talked about yesterday, and it's all about when we're in small businesses. Most of us, I'm not saying everyone, have back. We have things that push us back. We have things that go wrong.
Mhm.
Often we can have a lot of knockbacks, yeah, in one go, and we go, holy moly. And I would dare to say, and I can't say that there aren't some people out there who are super confident no matter what. But
Yeah.
I think for a lot of us, at least for me, knockbacks can really impact my confidence in my business, in me, and also my purpose and what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And I know you and I have talked about this when we work together in my business as well. So I love to chat to you about this topic.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's so good, and it's such the crux of where my focus is with people, because it really does get you into a place of feeling stuck. And one of the things that I always say is that whatever's happening to us internally and in our personal lives is going to start to show up in our business. So sometimes that stuckness and what is a catalyst for a knockdown in our business actually starts with something that happened to us internally or in our personal lives, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it absolutely shakes your confidence because it creates this level of uncertainty. We now start to question, why am I doing this? What have I been doing, and now I'm doing something wrong? There becomes a lot of self-judgment and a lot of criticism, and it absolutely erodes away at our confidence. Again, not just in our business, but also in our personal life.
And that's the thing, everything is connected. Like you always said to me, your business, especially if you're a small business owner and you are the main person in the business, is really a reflection of you, yeah, and where you are at in your life. And you're so right. And sometimes those knockbacks, you think, oh, is it my fault? But then when you look at it objectively, and I recently had a chat with someone else in the house community, and he was feeling the same way. And actually, I was able to say to him, and I should learn that, when often we can learn from what we say to others, yeah, is I was saying, try and look at it as not your fault, yeah? As try and look at it that a business takes time to build, and there are certain things out of our control. Yeah, we can do all the right things, but still have knockbacks.
Absolutely. And yet the funny thing is that you talked about that taking accountability or the responsibility for something being our own, right? And so we don't grow and change and get better unless we do that. But so many of us also lead into a place where it becomes this self-criticism. And like I said, it really actually starts to take us down even further. And then when we are feeling more and more self-critical, more self-shame, beating ourselves up over things, it just tends to spiral out into our business, into our relationships and finances and all these other areas. So it's really important that we kind of balance that self-accountability and responsibility with also being able to look at something objectively.
And I think you're so right with that. We almost, I know there's some people out there who have all the confidence in the world, never take responsibility to some extent for anything. Yeah, we all know some of these people. Yeah, but for most of us, especially us who are more heart-centered and more empathetic in our whole way of being, I think you're absolutely right. There's this level of where there's one point where we can look at it and see, well, these things are happening. It's actually not us doing anything wrong per se, but then at the same time, we want to be accountable and take responsibility. And that's where you're saying there's this fine balance where it tips into actually taking us down rather than building us up. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, and I don't even know, other than processing through it and trying to be in a place where we can be forgiving to ourselves, compassionate to ourselves. Think about, what would I say to my best friend right now if they were the ones that were struggling with this in our business? And I know this is something else that you and I talk about, especially with your work too. It's been so instrumental for me. I'm great at marketing stuff and helping people see where their messaging is off or whatever. But when it came to me, I floundered terribly. And so working with you was awesome with that. But using that same concept and saying, what kind of advice, if I just took a step back and this was my best friend's situation, how would I respond to them? Where would I be able to support them and also give them positive feedback to make the changes that they need to do? It's just a matter of applying those same things to ourselves.
Which is coming back to actually learning to change our inner critic to our most fundamental, best supporter in the world, the most loving supporter. With this in mind, I'm just going to reach out. We've got a lot of people here. Jackie's here, Claudia's here, Dee is here, Jason's here, and Diane is here. Diane is saying it can also cause us to have physical accidents like trip over and fall when these things are going through. And Dee is just saying that you are amazing as well, and he's had experience with you. But just bringing back to Diane in terms of, and Claudia was saying about self-criticism as well. This whole thing can actually, trip us in so many ways, yeah? Our inner critic.
It definitely does. It's because like I said at the beginning of this, is that it's really comes down to the fact that it creates uncertainty for us. And if we've not had a lot of an easy go at when things and changes and uncertainty showed up in our lives, then it becomes very easy that can not only be a trip, but that it takes you falling all the way down the stairs, right? That it's more than just tripping over your own feet, and it can just really knock you down.
Yeah. And there's another whole component to it if we want to go a little bit more spiritual, and I know you don't mind this. No. I'm just going to take it to the next level. Sometimes things happen in our life completely out of our control that we did not intend. We didn't see it happening. We didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes, like an accident, like I had an accident with my horse. It took me out. My knee quite literally took my knee out. And whilst it was painful, uncomfortable, changed my life in 2021 because I couldn't walk for like half a year. And then we had lockdowns on the top of it in Australia. It literally sat me down, and guess what it did for good? It made me come home to myself, because I wasn't out there spending time doing all sorts of other things for other people and taking care of animals. I was literally stuck in my home, quite literally, for a year. And I had a lot of time for me, because I couldn't even sit and work for too long, because I had back pains as well because of the knee. And then Claudia will love this. This is where I had started drawing before that, but that's when I took drawing to a whole nother level, because it helped me connect to me. And what drawing did for me, which is why Claudia, I love what she does in terms of the whole emotional and learning to draw in color, it made me feel good. I didn't even want to share my drawings with anyone. I just wanted to feel good. And it took me back to childhood, at a time where I think as a child, that's how I actually soothed myself. That's how I made myself feel good as a child. And I had forgotten that.
I mean, there's so much in there that you just... Okay, first of all, Claudia's work is awesome. I took her recent coloring class. Again, reconnecting back to that, it was really awesome. So shout out to Claudia. If anybody wants to do that, make sure you do. But, it is, whenever these stumbles and knockdowns happen, it always is, truthfully, an opportunity for us to be able to uncover and reveal our true self, the parts of us that we have been holding on to, the beliefs we've been holding on to, the patterns we've been holding on to, that are not really true to us, that are somebody else's, that we've adopted and no longer serve us. And that's why, like at the top, when I was saying about that I like to work with business owners that have had a major life loss or transition, it's because those are hard times. Those are major setbacks in your life. But at the same time, it cracks you open to uncover your true, authentic self, to really start to move into a deeper place of wholeness and healing. And when we do that for ourselves personally, then our business explodes, and going into the confidence piece, it shifts the level of confidence that we had, no matter how confident you were. When you go through that and you come all the way through it, it sheds this light and deepens it into such a much more centered and authentic place that your real power really starts to show up in your life in all the ways, not just our businesses, but again, in our finances, in our relationships, and in our health. It absolutely impacts our physical health.
And I love what you're saying, because this is definitely the journey I've been on for 50 years. I might as well admit my age, and having no self-esteem. I grew up having no self-esteem, and I learned to focus on working really hard. I learned to focus on external things, like the right job, the right title, the education, whatever external, to try and make me feel good enough in myself, to make me feel confident in myself. But it's a false confidence, even though we can actually fool ourselves for a really, really long time, especially when things are going seemingly well. We have the money, we have the job. But then, like you said, I was burning out, which is where it was showing up, because I didn't have the confidence. It was externally based. I was always looking for validation or for success, externally, for me to feel good enough. And internally, what I think happened was that was actually breaking me down. Like, it exhausted me internally, and that's where burnout came from. And then one day I just quit, and there I was going, what do I do now? I can't work for someone else. I got offered 2 great jobs within 3 or 4 months, great pay, and I literally could not say yes to it.
And I believe, like you said, from a spiritual perspective, that is why these things happen to us. It's, again, to bring us back to that real, authentic power, who we really are. And the level of confidence in it is so much different. And it energetically shows up so much different to all of our customers and employees and the people that are following us or listening to us in our audiences. There's a depth to it that I know for me personally, I can feel and recognize it in myself now in a way that I didn't even have a year ago. And, it's not because of fun things. But at the same time, there's a different level of excitement and passion in what I do. And
Yeah.
I see the rewards of it showing up in the way that people see and hear me so much differently, because I can now see and hear myself more. And when we are clear about that, then all the other things in our business get a lot clearer.
And I love what you're just saying, because actually I'm on the same journey. And the last year, I have had so many knockbacks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have had so many situations where literally the universe is asking me to bungee jump backwards without holding on to anything anymore, and trying to climb into the ride and be safe. Yeah. They're literally
Mm-hmm.
asking me to jump backwards and not seeing it, and bungee jumping. And you and I have talked about this, and it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Yeah. And it's so easy to try and run, let me get this job, let me do that. But what is interesting is, by really learning to love myself, and it's a process, it does not happen
Mm-hmm.
overnight. Yeah. It's a
Mm-hmm.
long process for as long as we're here on earth, I think. And it's
Agree.
really important to, as you said, you start changing internally. And the things that I notice about myself now, in terms of how I show up and how people respond to me, is so much different. And what I look for in terms of success is actually, funny enough, with Mike, he's on the show here as well now. Mike, hello, great to see you. We love the Hounds of Business, and everyone here from the Hounds of Business and others outside the Hounds of Business, we love you too, Ed. But what's really important is actually through a community and meeting other people like you as well, and other people in the Hounds, it's actually helped me in a way of just seeing that no matter what happens in my life, not only do I feel better in myself, but it's also being reflected back in positive relationship, like you said before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think another thing that goes along with what we are calling confidence and our own sense of empowerment really becomes about a deepening of trust in ourselves, in our connection to God, spirit, if that's important to you. It is to me. um and it brings a centeredness and a sense of peace that means that when those hard times come around again, God bless us, we are more stable, and we are able to take it more like, I don't know why this just popped in my head, like a weeble wobble. I don't know if you had weeble wobbles where you grew up. The people in America of our generation will remember the weeble wobbles. The weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. That was their whole catch thing. And so
Yeah.
I think as we go through these, if we're taking these knockbacks in a way that we're embracing it and we're learning to allow us to shed what's not ours
Yeah.
and to heal ourselves, then we will wobble and not fall down.
I love that. And Diane just mentioned, and if you don't know Diane Dawson, you got to meet her. She is just the most gorgeous lady. She does not only, she's a holistic, what do you call it, image consultant, sorry, and body acceptance, but she's also great at meditation. And she actually taught me meditation. Well, I learned meditation before, but her meditation is just amazing. So if you don't know her, do reach out to her for meditation, because I think it's actually one of the things that have really helped me is learning to meditate.
Oh, absolutely. I second that 100%.
Yeah.
And there's
So
not a
what,
right or wrong way to do that. For anybody
no,
that's listening is like, I can't meditate. You can, and you already do it in your own ways, but that's a whole nother episode.
we'll have another episode on that, and you can
Yeah.
teach me all about that. But what are some other advice you would give to people who are listening today, in terms of how do we stay confident? How do we keep building
Yeah.
that trust? And we already touched on it a lot. Obviously, we need to heal and stuff, and that takes time. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. Is there anything else we can do in our daily life that you reckon that has helped you in terms of building trust? I know for me, having a community like with Edward Sear and with Mike Ashton Brown and the House have really helped me in terms of
Mhm.
staying more stable during everyday ups and downs.
Yeah, for sure. That support and not being afraid to ask for support is exactly how you get through these. And again, let somebody else, be the same way, like in construction, we put supports in place to keep something structurally stable, right? Allow them to help you stay structurally stable while you're going through these hard times, because it is a demolition phase in the best kind of way. You're building something new for yourself. One of the other things that I would say is that there's a lot of talk always around resilience, and resilience is the foundation of what builds our confidence. I believe that. And what's also not always talked about in regards to resilience is that resilience comes from first recognizing. So we have to be honest with ourselves about recognizing I am not feeling strong and I don't want to hear one more person tell me I'm strong.
Yeah.
Okay. It's about saying I'm sad, I'm freaking frustrated,
Yeah.
I'm all the things. So allow yourself to first recognize it and not try and power through and stay
Yeah.
strong. Um, and that goes to adding support. And then the other thing that's really important with resilience, and people forget this because resilience is not powering through. It's also about resting. It's
Yes.
about saying, I need to take a time out. I need to get my bearings back and not keep trying to overfunction and overdo and all these action steps to course correct, because usually that makes things worse. So
Yeah.
that's
So what
my
I'm hearing is allow yourself to feel the feelings that you're feeling rather than try and push them away with whatever external stuff, or whether it's food or whatever else we're trying to bury it. Let it come up, because as long as we keep trying to push it down, it's going to keep trying to come to the surface, because that's what it needs to do to
Yeah.
release and to move us to a higher level in terms of our own confidence and trust. There's another word that kept coming up as we were talking: learning to receive. Learning to receive when you ask for help, and be open to receiving it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because so often I want to do for others.
Yeah.
But there comes a point where I'm at the moment looking at, okay, I love doing for others, but I also need to receive. And actually on this weekend, I think I slept the whole weekend pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just another, that resting was what you needed to receive at that time. Yeah. And for sure, it's really, really important. And remember that only through that rest and restoring ourselves is the true way to get more whole, to get more centered. And that's where our confidence comes from. That's where that deep, unshakable, powerful, magnetic confidence comes from. So,
yeah, I love that. And before we finish up, Diane just mentioned boundaries as well, learning to set boundaries. Do you want to chat about that as well?
I mean, we can. I mean, I think boundaries comes down to the idea of saying, I have to learn to value, respect, and honor my own needs more than anything else.
Yeah.
Because
And don't think of that as selfish. Yeah. It's not
yeah,
selfish.
exactly. And there can be a slippery slope with boundaries. I don't remember if I was maybe just talking with D Grant the other day, but there can be a slippery slope with boundaries that actually allow you to stay stuck in victimhood, because we think, I need to guard myself. I need to put up a boundary. I need to protect myself. I need to shield myself. Well, all that language is very defensive, and it's very making it seem like that you are constantly under attack. So if we make the shift in ourselves to say, my setting boundaries is really my putting myself first. This is about my, honoring my own needs, what I feel, what I know is my best interest first. So it's just kind of a reframe on that.
I love that. I'd love to talk to you. I know you and I can talk for hours.
Yeah.
We're going to have to finish up now because I appreciate everyone's time here. I just want to give a quick shout out to Etsia, but also to the wonderful Mike Ashenbrowner, the House of Business community. If you're not already a member of it, do seek out Mike and talk to him. Maybe you would like to become a member. There are so many beautiful souls here right now listening in and staying with us, who are all parts of the House of Business. So great community, highly recommend it. Before we finish up, do you want to share anything about how people can reach out to you, etc.? If anything you've got coming up as well, and then we'll finish.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just reach out to me through LinkedIn. The link is right there, scrolling across the bottom of the screen. This is so fancy.
Mike taught me how to do this.
That's truly the best way to reach me. So just, connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a message. I have a personal challenge right now to do 100 free mini business intuitive readings for business owners that I haven't connected with before in 100 days. And so that
Wow.
sand is running through the hourglass, and I definitely need to fill more spots. So if you're
And
interested
can
in
I
that,
just say,
yeah,
they are
say,
freaking amazing,
oh,
these readings. So you
thank
haven't
you.
done one, you got to sign up for one. Sorry,
Yeah.
I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say there is a link right on my profile. It says Big Give Scheduling or something like that.
So if you haven't already had a mini reading, a business mini reading with Siera, go and schedule one in now. I highly, highly recommend it. I think I met you in July on some happy neighborhood project kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we just clicked.
And that's how, and that's how we connected. You signed up for one with me, and
and the rest is history. Here we go.
Sure
we live
is.
across, I live in Australia, live in America, and I think I found a fantastic friend, not just someone who's helped me in business, but you're a dear friend as well. So I thank you so much for coming into my life.
Yes,
and thank you everyone for being here today.
Thank you for having me, and we're going to make you move here. That's just mine.
Exactly. Take care, everyone, and thank you for being here.